Welcome, drifters! Today we're embarking on the ultimate journey to the most extreme continent on Earth, Antarctica. Our adventure begins right here in Punta Arenas, Chile, the gateway to the White Continent if traveling by air, which is how this trip goes. That's right, we fly back and forth to Antarctica in under 2 hours each way. This is, of course, in stark contrast to sailing back and forth across the notoriously rough Drake Passage, which requires upwards of 2 days each way. So, buckle up, because we're about to take a giant leap into the unknown. I'd like to present this video in chronological order so that if you're considering joining us next time, you can get a very good idea for what to expect. We all fly down separately and meet in Punta Arenas, where the first trip night is included in the package price, as is access to the simply incredible Explorer's House. This is a newly refurbished building just blocks away from our hotel, which is situated on the town's main square. The Explorer's House is a more than 20,000 square foot facility that was converted from a centuries-old factory that processed and sold wool and leather from local ranchers. Here we were treated to welcome drinks and were able to meet the ground crew taking care of us. Ever concerned about our safety, the staff gave us a very informative presentation about what to expect the next day as we made our way to the 7th continent. The facility was spectacular, and the architects did a masterful job of converting it into a truly incredible clubhouse featuring all of today's modern amenities, including an interactive library for those looking to gather additional information about Antarctica and the trip ahead. Next, we were treated to the most wonderful meal, enjoying unlimited wine and laughs all around. As you can imagine, travel to Antarctica is completely dependent on the weather, and so the ground crew closely monitored the situation both in Punta Arenas and in Antarctica before we were given permission to fly. Once cleared, we were transferred to the airport, and after a very comfortable flight in a large airplane complete with flight attendants and a boxed lunch, we touched down on King George Island, where the magic truly begins. This is where Frey Station is located, and it's some of the last man-made structures we'd see throughout the rest of the trip. Did you know Antarctica is not just a land of ice and snow, it's also home to some of the most fascinating and hardy creatures on the planet. That's right. Penguins, seals, and even whales call this icy paradise home. And with its unique ecosystems, Antarctica holds countless secrets just waiting to be discovered. Next, we board Zodiacs, which take us to the Ocean Nova, our trusty home for the next 5 nights. Originally an icebreaker from Greenland, this ship is our ticket to exploring the untouched wonders of the Antarctic Peninsula. The Ocean Nova is meticulously maintained, extremely sturdy, and completely up to date on all safety regulations and procedures, because safety is rule number 1 in this part of the world. The Ocean Nova has a capacity of just 67 passengers and about half that many crew, making it the smallest vessel in the region with the lowest client-to-crew ratio in the industry, and our tour company pioneered the flying cruise model and has been running successful expeditions to this part of Antarctica for more than 20 years. They even own a part of the airline that flies us down, thereby giving our group priority over any other travelers. A smaller ship like the Ocean Nova allows us to get into smaller bays and to land in places the bigger ships can only dream about. As you can imagine, each expedition is slightly different because everything in Antarctica is dependent on the weather, and although we were there during the Antarctic summer, When temperatures average around 32 degrees Fahrenheit, you should plan to bring lots of layers in case the weather takes a turn for the worst. Safety and respect for Mother Nature are the rule in Antarctica, and the ship's crew had this top of mind throughout. We started off with a safety drill and demonstration and were shown our muster stations and what to do in the case of an emergency. As we sailed through the Bransfield Strait, I was awestruck by the sheer beauty of this frozen realm. We witnessed lonely icebergs ranging in size from a meter square or less to ones which could be 100 or more miles long and capable of being landed on by an airplane or helicopter. Their shapes are ever-changing and are as unique as snowflakes, no single one ever being the same as another. Fun fact: did you know that Antarctica is 98% covered in ice? That's right, it's not just a landmass, it's an icy wonderland unlike any other. Our journey continued through the Gerlach Strait, where towering peaks and icy fjords create a mesmerizing backdrop. A few guests had trouble getting their sea legs, and so had a bit of seasickness overnight, but there's a doctor on board to distribute pills to ward off illness, or it's also recommended that clients bring their own medications. But here's another mind-blowing fact. Antarctica is not only the largest continent, but also the driest, highest, and coldest place on Earth. Keep your eyes peeled, folks. We're not just here for the scenery. Antarctica's wildlife steals the show with its charm and resilience. From playful seals to majestic birds, every encounter is a moment to treasure. Our first landfall on this year's trip was at Palaver Point, which was teeming with wildlife. From 2 seals duking it out on shore to hundreds of curious chinstrap penguins looking after their young on high cliffs, as far away from predators as possible. Notice how these chinstrap penguins head down their penguin highway to the sea, dirty and hungry, but as they re-emerge from the sea, they are stark white and belly full, ready to head back up the hill, one tiny step at a time, to feed their chicks. Believe it or not, but both parents make this journey up to 3 or 4 times per day to feed their hungry offspring. Next, we're transported by Zodiac for sunset at Hydrurga Rocks. Lazy seals resting away from predators dot the landscape, more chinstrap penguin colonies line either side of the inlet, and a lone elephant seal wakes from his slumber to see what all the fuss is around him. In the background, we see the hardy folks from our ship who chose to kayak during their trip, glide silently into this peaceful inlet to get a perspective from the water, their bright red kayaks in stark contrast to the surrounding landscape. Our next stop is Port Point for a morning walk up and along its gentle slopes, which offer incredible views of the ocean nova surrounded by icebergs and glaciers on every side.
I'm out here with a jacket, a fleece, and a t-shirt. And it's open, my jacket. No gloves. It's like 40 to 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Absolutely stunning. Everyone's having a blast.
Don't worry about bringing walking sticks or clunky waterproof boots, as both are provided and a part of your fee. Interestingly enough, Port Point was the first place we could say we actually set foot on the continent of Antarctica, meaning from here we could actually walk all the way to the South Pole, just 1,000 or so kilometers away. Before we had landed on islands with no direct path to the pole. This day we spent the entire time in Charlotte Bay, my personal favorite stop on the entire trip. The undisturbed water was like glass and allowed for the most incredible reflections, and the silence was deafening. In this incredible place, we were never alone, unlike this emperor penguin who was said to be lost from his colony because, unfortunately, no emperors are found on this side of the peninsula. The poor guy looked a bit confused, and we enjoyed his company while it lasted. Charlotte Bay is surrounded on almost all sides by giant glaciers that slowly slide into the sea and from time to time break off and calve, creating the countless icebergs of all shapes and sizes that dot the water. Occasionally, we'd hear a big crash and look around to see the aftermath of a large block of ice falling into the sea. Crab-eater seals were flitting all around and under us, and then occasionally take a break on a nearby slab of ice. Icebergs surrounded us on every side and came in all shapes and sizes, mesmerizing us with their greens and pale and deep blues and otherworldly shapes. Our kayaking friends appeared once again, getting closer to the glacier's edge while maintaining a safe distance in case a giant piece of ice calved off, creating a minor tsunami. It's really hard to believe that 90% of an iceberg is hidden below the surface. After a good 3 or 4 hours cruising around Charlotte Bay in our Zodiacs, we came back to the ship to relax a bit, and then a hearty few clients participated in the polar plunge. Simply put on a bathing suit, get strapped in, and make the plunge into the icy waters, all the while being monitored and helped back on board by the ship's crew. I didn't participate in the polar plunge this year, but I will definitely be doing it next time. Later for dinner, we all met up on the top deck of the ship and enjoyed the most incredible meal, outside and in the snow. Hot mulled wine and other drinks were served, as was a huge buffet of meats, vegetables, desserts, and more, and such an experience wouldn't be complete without some crazy dancing. Needless to say, a great time was had by all. Our journey reached its climax as we explored Fournier Bay. Because there are no landing options in this area, our ship anchored, and we zipped around on Zodiacs once again, admiring the incredible landscapes as we searched for wildlife, which we definitely encountered. There were even more lazy seals, Antarctic terns, and even a group of whales hunting as a team to gather krill by the ton. These pristine landscapes offer a glimpse into the raw beauty of Antarctica, where every iceberg has a story of its own. You really come to realize how remote you are in this incredible place where not another man-made structure can be found. There are no buildings, cell towers, lights, or even other ships to be seen for days. Just the natural beauty of this pristine environment. During free time on the ship, there was a brief happy hour where free drinks were served, but also occasional presentations about such topics as glaciation, weather, the history of Antarctica, and more. And each evening we had a briefing and went over what the next day's schedule would look like, always keeping in mind that we needed to be flexible as, once again, all would be dependent on the weather. Unfortunately, all great things must come to an end, and so it was with our Antarctica fly and cruise adventure. On our last day on the continent, we packed up and were transferred back to King George Island and Frey Station, where we waited in comfort for our flight to arrive with the Ocean Nova's next group of passengers and to take us back to Punta Arenas for one more night at our hotel before we flew back home.
You've got to come with me next year on Antarctica Fly and Cruise. Go to continentaldrifter.co for more information.
So there you have it, folks. Our journey from Punta Arenas to the heart of Antarctica was nothing short of extraordinary. But remember, this frozen continent has so much more to offer, so why not join us and uncover its many mysteries for yourself? Until next time, Antarctica awaits.
And remember, drifters, life's too short not to travel.